Hi guys, and welcome to AirAbility, your regular dose of lead therapy. And today I'm going to be talking about my favourite pellet, the H&N Baracuda FT. And you may remember earlier this year, around February time, I did a review of their amazing new Baracuda 8, the new pellet in the Baracuda range. Well, a lot of people have asked me, could I do a review about the pellet that I personally use in competition? And here we go. I'm going to talk about the Baracuda FT. But first of all, will you indulge me and let me talk about last weekend? Last weekend I won the British Benchrest Air Rifle Championship, and I'm absolutely over the moon. What does that mean? Well, we had the Benchrest UK Nationals last week, and as you know, there's a light rifle and a heavy rifle competition at each of these events. The British champion would be crowned, and it would be the person who scored the most points over the two events. Well, on the Saturday, I found myself in 4th position, but things weren't that bad because it was only 1 point in a handful of X's that separated the top 4 shooters. But next morning, I arrived at the range to see that weather conditions were quite calm, and the people who were on the first detail had already shot wonderfully, and there were 2 4.8s and 2 50s in the mix. And I knew that day I would have to put my head down. Well, anyway, cutting a long story short, I shot a 2.48, a 2.47, and a 2.47 to win the heavy rifle class on the Sunday. And my combined scores won the British Benchrest Air Rifle Championship by 4 points, and I'm really over the moon with that. And I've got to thank, H&N and the Baracuda FT for their consistency in their pellets that allowed me to do this. And this isn't, and I've got to say that, the pedigree of the shooters I beat, I thought was tremendous. I beat the current European Benchrest Air Rifle Benchrest champion. I beat former world Benchrest champions, and I beat all of the Great Britain squad who returned from the recent World Championships. So, I think on anybody's measure, that's a good day. But that's not all. Over the last 2 seasons, I've shot in 8 events, and I've won gold in 6 of them with the Baracuda FT. We've got the British Championships. We've got the first AirAbility Live. We've got the Cleveland Friendly here with these glass trophies that aren't very clear on screen. And also, I have a veritable pirate's treasure of medals that I've won over the last 2 seasons. When I won my first gold, I actually put it in my gun case to remind me that anything was possible, but I couldn't believe that I had to stop doing that because I ran out of room. But anyway, enough about me bragging, but you've got to give me it this once. I'm really happy, and I work very hard, and you guys know how much effort I put in to shooting. So let's get down to talking about the Baracuda FT. Well, it is 9.57 grains in weight, and it is .177 caliber. It's also available in 4.50 and 4.51 head sizes. I personally shoot the 4.50. This pellet, when weighed and measured out of the tin, is the most consistent pellet I've come across from any brand of pellet manufacturer, and this in turn gives me the confidence to shoot well. The pellets are so consistent that there is no need to weigh them before you go out on the Benchrest tour, although I do because I'm an obsessive, but I have yet to find a pellet that was heavier or lighter to the degree it would have affected accuracy. They're all absolutely bob on. They're also a very clean pellet, and there's very little, if no residue, left in the tin when you use them. I also find that the Baracuda FT is made out of slightly harder lead than some of the other brands, and you shouldn't be disturbed by the fact that they need a little bit more of a push when you put them in the barrel. I also find, compared to some brands, the power output on these pellets is marginally lower than some brands, but again, this does not affect the accuracy. What I do is I just shoot them as is. I do size them to make them fit my particular barrel better. That's got nothing to do with the quality of the pellet. It's to do with what my barrel likes. But I would say that once I have sized them and I rub them on a little lubrication before I put them into my gun, these pellets have been fantastically consistent, as you can see by, the wins. I've done some fantastic cards over the year, and this one, I was at the Portishead Brass Monkey in March, and I was head to head with a former world champion, Graham Freeman. He'd already beaten me in the light rifle class, but to win the heavy rifle class, I had no choice but to shoot a 249, and I did this, and this is possibly the best target I've ever shot under pressure, which really made me proud. I just was over the moon that I won that first event of the season this year. And then there are other, I'm now getting multiple 248s, 247s on the tour, which shows the consistency of my shooting. It's no good getting a 250 if you're not backing it up with two other consistent cards in a competition. And this is something that I really treasure. This was my first 250 outdoors with my Baracuda FT quite a while ago now. And in practice, I must admit, these 250s are now coming thick and fast. You cannot doubt the quality of these pellets, but what I will say is, everybody knows a pellet has to suit the barrel of your gun. And if the Baracuda FT suits your gun, the results could be magical. So, but we do need to accept that not every pellet suits every gun. So, it's all down to pellet testing. And there are a few videos I've done all about pellet testing and how to select the best pellet for you. H&N Pellets sponsor me, and I've tried my hardest to show that these pellets, are probably the best you can get your hands on anywhere, and the consistency has shone through with my results. But I've definitely been living the airgun dream the last 2 years, and who knows what's going to happen next year. But I tell you, there is one guaranteed thing that's going to happen next year. I will enter all the benchrest competitions I can, and I will try my hardest. And whatever happens, happens. Because remember, guys, I measure my performance not on the medal that I bring home, but on knowing that I gave it everything and tried my absolute hardest at the competitions and in preparation. My final thoughts are, thank you H&N for supplying me with such a consistent pellet, and I hope that I've done you proud over the last 2 seasons. Until then, guys, remember, I don't know about you, but I'm going to continue getting out there and living the airgun dream. So take care and see you soon. Bye bye.